Hello, and welcome to another episode of Nerd Nonsense. I am your host, Nero, and this is...
Ooh, this is Makoto.
How you doing?
I'm good. It's been a bit.
It has been a bit. It's been a week, right? A week? 2 weeks.
Couple weeks.
2 weeks. 2 weeks. 2 weeks. We have definitely a lot of news and stuff has happened since then.
For sure,
Uh,
yes.
But I say I'm the host, but really you're the one who's going to be taking the lead on this episode because I have no idea what's happening.
I delayed this episode by a day because I was prepping something.
Yeah. So really, Makoto is your host today, and I'm just along for the ride.
Well, I suppose I'll just get started with this. So I'll change the window now. I prepared a little something for you.
All right.
You said because so
backstory.
For background. Project L just released its title, 2XK.
Yes.
The League of Legends fighting game, 2XK. First off, we sort of DM'd our thoughts on it.
On the title.
I said I think it's fine for a fighting game, but the fact that it's a league game does not work out for me.
Yeah, I don't like it as a fighting game, as a fighting game title either, to be honest. But I think it's clunky, personally. I feel like they could have. I don't know. Like, yes, it gets the point across because it's a 2 tag team fighter, but like, I don't know. I feel like there could have been a better name. I heard lots of opinions. Some people like it. I've heard a lot of people not liking it. So it's a controversial name.
So I don't know if they see my YouTube page, but I'm about to change the screen share to what it's actually going to do.
All right.
And I'll change it now. It's a PowerPoint.
Oh, shit! All right, let me actually make that full screen then.
Makoto's editing magic predictions for 2XKO Project L.
Let me wait. I gotta take away the title. No, there's no scuff here. Oh, we're covering. People can't see on my version, but we're covering the Makotos.
That's fine. That's totally fine because these are not going to be here the whole time.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So I made a PowerPoint. There's like 15 slides. This might go a little over our 30-minute limit.
That's fine. Honestly, after my own heart right here. I love making PowerPoints for shit. This is great. 10 out of 10. Love it.
So far we have 7 confirmed characters.
Okay, wait. I'm gonna move the thingy a little bit.
Okay.
So that people can read it too. No. Read it off. You're covering people.
Yeah.
Let me move us.
So far the confirmed characters are Ari, Darius, Echo, Jinx, Katarina, Alawi, and Yasuo. And I use these icons because it also shows where they're from. So there's one thing that I wanted to point out with League is that there are many different factions from Runeterra.
Oh shit.
These are all the different. These are all the different ones. You got Noxus, Demacia, Piltover, Zon, Ionia, Bilgewater, Mount Targon, Ixtal, Bandle City, Shurima, Freljord, the Void, and the Shadow Isles.
All right, so we got a lot to choose from. Yeah, because I asked your opinion, like, who do you think is going to be there for more context for people? And I was definitely thinking there's probably going to be reps from everywhere, right? That's what you would assume.
That's what we can assume. Now, there's definitely more prevalent areas than others. Lots of people are assuming that if they were to have 3 major factions in the MMO, it might be Noxus, Demacia, and Freljord. Potentially having Piltover and Zon, specifically because of Arcane.
Yeah.
And then all the other ones like Ionia, Bilgewater, Shadow Isles, Targon, and Shurima will be like expansions.
Makes sense.
But it's like I really don't know what to expect. I don't even know how big this roster is going to be. So I'll once this it's going to take a while for me to finally show you like my guesses for the roster.
No, that's fine.
So this is me going through each land of Runeterra and saying like these are potential candidates that could be in the game.
Gotcha. Before you get on from there, I just want to get as a layman, right, as a League plebeian peasant who's only seen Arcane, and that's pretty much my gist, right?
Mm-hmm.
And like seeing things here and there, right? The things that pop out to me name-wise for these areas, which I'm imagining, right, with this fighting game, they want to try to get people into their ecosystem, right? You would assume the right ecosystem. The names that pop up to me that I'm like, oh, that's recognizable as just an average video game fan. Noxus, Demacius Piltover's on Freylord. Did I say it right? Freylord?
It's Freljord, but
Freljord.
yeah, it's a J after the L.
And those Ionia also pops out to me. Like I've seen that. Those are the ones that just like bam, I've seen those.
That's yes, and I will tell you,
In Bandle
Ionia,
City.
yeah,
Because of
due
Bandle
to
Tail.
recent games,
Yes.
yeah. But Ionia, so I will give you some little like snippets of my experience. Ionia is my favorite place,
Okay.
and the thing is, each of these lands, like if you dive deep into any of these lands, you have just its own massive story
Yeah.
for any of them. I don't. I've been actually learning a little bit more about Freljord lately because I've been interested in that one. But I know a decent amount about Demacia and Noxus. I know quite a bit about Ionia, Piltover and Zon, obviously from Arcane,
Yeah.
and I was actually very interested in them before that as well. Bilgewater is also very huge. It's where most of Ruined King takes place.
Okay.
Shadow Isles is also where a lot
I hate to
of
play
Ruined
with Ruin
King
King.
takes place. Targon is pretty. I mean, I give like quick little snippets of like
Yeah.
about each one. So the first one I want to dive into
Also,
is Noxus. Huh?
I'll say Noxus and Piltover are the two in Demacius, those top three are the ones I'd heard of before Arcane, also before seeing Arcane. Like I just heard of them as well. So
Yes.
anyway, continuing.
So first we got Noxus, and to be honest, you're gonna find out that I put a lot more characters in further ones because I was really thinking like, holy crap, there's so many characters they could do.
Oh yeah, it's
So
huge potential roster.
So we already have Darius and Katarina. Darius is a tanky bruiser who can hit hard, but he's not too fast. He just hits
Yeah,
pretty good. He could do some pretty good combos. Katarina, she's more of an assassin dagger character, can do multi-hit combos, can teleport,
gotcha.
crazy things like that. So next we have Samira, who's the one on the bottom right there. She has a sword and a
Okay.
pistol, and she fights very similarly to Dante from Devil May Cry,
Yeah.
but think maybe she'll play like Marvel vs. Capcom 3's Dante.
Ooh.
They actually had a little quick fighting game in the League client called Tournaments of Souls,
Yeah.
which was about Samira because she got like an ultimate skin that was called Soul Fighter.
Okay.
And the thing is, like, they were showing some really cool things you could do with her abilities in a fighting game setting.
That definitely feels like a shoe in then.
Mm-hmm. Kled is a Yordle. So the thing is, every Yordle is from Bandle City, but a lot of them left to go be in other factions.
Gotcha.
Kled is a notorious being across all of Noxus. He holds many titles. I forgot one of his more notable titles, but it's many words. He's just a savage man who just goes in and fights. He's very aggressive, and he has a lizard mount named Scarl. The thing is, Scarl's immortal.
Oh.
But Scarl gets scared, and he gets scared off. So I figured this would be their way of implementing like some sort of fear meter in him. Once he takes too much damage in quick succession, maybe Scarl gets scared. Now Kled's a short fighter.
I'm wondering. Okay, it's interesting. I'm wondering if they would, because to me, right, like a 2-team fighter like that, like with combo wise, gives me. Have you played Blast Blue?
Yes, I played a little bit. Yes.
Gives me Clover vibes. The Regulus, the puppet guys.
Yes, I think I know who you're talking about. Yes.
As like a 2-in-1 fighter.
Yeah, like, and the thing is, Yordles are short. They're short, little rodent people. But with him being on top of Scarl, I figured that would help even out the playing field. And maybe like temporarily, he could be like short temporarily until the fear meter goes down or something, and then Scarl comes back.
Okay.
LeBlanc, one kind of character we don't have yet in the game are mages. We have Jinx, who is like a range character using like a chain gun, rocket launcher, pistol, and she still kicks and stuff. But this character, she's a trickster in League. She can dash forward and teleport back, and she can use like this mark with her magic that then amplifies her next attack.
Makes sense. No, I was just saying, makes sense with the name LeBlanc.
She's a bit of a bit of a foil in Demacia as well. The thing is, Noxus is kind of at war with everyone.
Yeah, I got that from
Um, their
War
land
Previous
is
Talks.
not sustainable. They can't really grow crops or anything like that. So they gain resources by capturing land.
Man, I just thought of the worst dad pun in my head.
What's that?
One could say the land is noxious.
Yeah,
God,
that's a good one.
I hate myself. Anyway, continue.
And she could also herself, so there's that too. So a nice little fighting game gimmick is being able to
Do you
clone
need a
yourself.
mage fighter?
Yeah. And that's the thing and that's going to be a trend going forward. The thing is Noxus has many other characters, and to be honest, when I started this, I only wanted to do like 4 or 5 characters each land. I kind of lose it as I go on. But there's also like Draven, there's Talon. Talon is like Katarina's adoptive brother. Draven is Darius's blood brother. There's and the thing is, it's a tag team game, right? Katarina
Yeah.
and Talon can work very well together. Darius and Draven can work well together in a tag team setting.
How many characters do you think are going to be in it?
I'll go into that when I make the roster. And then an honorable mention is Mbessa Madara, who is the Mel's mom from Arcane. And she is recently, around the time Smolder was released, they confirmed that she's going to be a champion in League of Legends. I don't know if maybe they'll try to time it with the official release of this game.
Yeah, that could be a good like co-promotion type thing.
Mm-hmm.
Either that
we
or
don't even know exactly
Season 2.
We don't even know exactly what she does to fight, like what she uses or anything. We just know she's strong and dominant.
Yeah.
But there's many great characters in Noxus. And the thing is, another thing that's like a trend in like fighting game campaigns is bosses too. And there's plenty of characters that could be bosses. In Noxus, being Scion, Aatrox. I think that's pretty much it for Noxus. But there's plenty of others from other games or from the other factions and stuff. So overall, these are like my closest guesses of like who we could get for a fighting game though in Noxus, but really there's tons of others who could. Next we got Demacia. Real quick about Demacia, they're kind of like this land that is anti-magic.
Okay.
But there are people in there who do know magic, but if you are caught by the Demacian military that you know magic, you end up getting imprisoned, or so a lot of them are in hiding and stuff.
Gotcha.
But one of the leaders of Demacia is Garen. He's a big bruiser character. He's very similar to Darius. They're often put against each other a lot. And
Which one is Garen?
Garen is the left one on top.
Okay, with the blue armor.
Yes, and the big sword. His whole thing is that he's a Beyblade. The dude has an ability where he just spins. So I assume that'd be like some sort of iconic move in the game as well.
Yeah.
Another one is one where he basically gathers the magical energy that their structures are sapping away from people, because that their whole land is built off of material that saps magic from people. Wood and stone both, and they use that magic to create weapons and stuff as well.
Gotcha.
But Garen, he can accumulate that magic, I guess, and is able to stab his sword into the ground, which then creates a giant magical sword and like will do tons of damage and stuff. So he'd be a very interesting character. Would also be pretty slow, but can hit pretty hard.
Always need one of those.
Silas, the middle character over there, he is the main character from Mage Seeker, their Hades game that they made.
I definitely think because of just wanted to get like recognition, right? Of like that could definitely be a high chance because he's a recognizable character even to people who don't play League.
Yes, and he'd be a very cool fit as well because while he is a melee fighter, he has range to him with the shackles and chains. But one other thing that he can implement is he can also steal people's magic and use it against them. So he could be a character that could use maybe their ultimate attack if he mimic them or something.
So like a light mimic, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Like if Garen were to use his giant sword move, Silas can do it too.
Okay.
He also uses his shackles or his chains to close gaps and stuff. If he can launch them over, grab onto someone, and pull himself over, kind of like Spider-Man in a
Gotcha.
way.
Yeah.
He's a pretty cool character, and his whole lore is that he was captured a long time ago, and was imprisoned in Demacia, and then eventually Lux pretty much helps him break out because he wants to fight against Demacia because he thinks that mages should be treated equal.
Gotcha.
So
Yeah, as you do.
it's a very interesting story. I do really like it, and I can't wait for it to be in the MMO. I don't know too much about Fiora, but I know she's a duelist and she has a rapier, and she does dash around and she can parry. And we love a good parry character in a fighting game.
We do love a good parry character.
Mm-hmm. And she's very precise. She might be able to fight like maybe similar to Marth, where she maybe does more damage towards the tip of her blade.
Right.
So she's kind of someone you don't want to be right up against someone, but you kind of want to keep a little bit of distance.
Mid-ranger.
But not too much, like to where they're a long range fighter. I try to implement a yordle into each land or some sort of short character, because I feel like that's inevitable in this game, is that we're going to get a short character.
Yeah. You just covered your bases.
Yeah, I've been trying my best to cover some bases and stuff. And like I said, there's plenty of there's a whole land of Demacia that's not even there's a whole section of Demacia that's not even included in this little lore that's going on with the Silas versus Garen and Lux kind of being in the middle.
Yeah.
And there's just tons of characters, but again, this is near the beginning where I kind of didn't really cover as many characters.
No, I'm trying
What's
to...
up?
No, nothing. Continue.
So next we have Poppy, a yordle with a hammer and a shield. Her lore is that she travels the land searching for the wielder of the hammer, the chosen one, if you will. And she's carrying it around and is going to the strongest fighters of all the land and going, "Hey, are you the hero?" And they're like, "I don't know." And then she'll hand them the hammer and they can't lift it. So then she picks it up and tries to find the next person.
Does she ever think that maybe
that's the joke?
Damn.
As a matter of fact, there's a comic where a monster attacks and she goes, "Sorry, hero, I'm going to need to use this." Takes out the monster and goes, "Well, I guess the hero's not here. Better keep looking."
It's you know what? It's a great bit. I love it.
I love it.
It's a great
It's
bit.
amazing. And she's awesome.
It's a brilliant bit.
Mm-hmm. So I think she would be pretty good in a fighting game as well. Lux, gotta go with the mage.
Big hammers.
Mm-hmm. Of course, always. And then Lux, another mage, a mage character that I think would be a very smart choice to put into the game. Just due to the fact that she's completely ranged, but she is the most iconic female champion in the game.
Really?
More likely than not, and I know I'm heavy stereotyping here, but more likely than not, if there's a female player, they're always gonna be stereotyped to be a Lux main.
Interesting.
She has a sailor scout skin.
Okay,
It's called the Star Guardians. She was the first Star Guardian.
I was like, she looks vaguely familiar, and it's from when you showed me the Star Guardians.
Yes. And she probably has, I believe she has the most skins in the game because of Riot clutching on to the female player base. That is the assumption. I know this is a very toxic, masculine sort of take, but it's the meme of the League of Legends fan base. And if there's anything that a video game company wants to hold on to, it's the female player base.
True.
Also, she's Garen's sister, so if they were to have Garen, then it would probably be good to have Lux in it as well.
Yeah.
But like I said, many other characters in Demacia. A good boss character could be Galio, who is just made entirely of the magic sapping stone.
Ooh.
And who is there? Vayne, who's basically like Demacia's Batman. Let's see. There's there's many. I think Kale and Morgana are also from Demacia. I'm not entirely sure on that though. But yeah, there's tons of characters in Demacia. It's one of the biggest factions. The next faction I want to touch on is Piltover and Zon.
Yep, the arguably the most popular to the non the layman to the layman.
Mm-hmm. I specifically put an arcane wallpaper for this. Now, this one
Yeah,
I covered specifically Zon for right now. This could have just been the Zon slide, but I was just like, you know what? I think I covered a good amount, and I move on to Piltover the next slide.
yeah,
But so we already got Jinx and Echo.
yeah.
The obvious ones they could put in are Vi and Jace.
Yes, easily.
They make great fighting game characters. Vi is just a fist fighter. She
Brawler.
goes in, hits hard. If it doesn't go down, hit it harder. Jace, a good transformation character, can be ranged and melee. It can pull off really cool, insane combos. I think he would be a really good fit as well.
Yeah.
But if we were to put them aside, real quick, we also know what they look like. They're from Arcane. If you don't know, watch Arcane. Good show.
Who's that? Actually, I don't see them on this list. I've heard like there's that one character I've always heard about. Who's that one? That spirit character from Zon?
Janna?
Is that who it is? Like, I always hear about her, just in general.
She's like so she's getting a rework. So I don't know what they could plan on sticking with, but she's basically a goddess of Zon. But again, she's getting a rework, so I don't know what they are gonna do with her.
Gotcha.
So that's kind of why I don't really know what to expect.
Okay, continue.
So first we have Warwick, who is theorized to be in Arcane Season 2 because he is potentially Vander.
We definitely saw him at the end of the season.
Mm-hmm. At the very end of the series, we see Singed looking at a book. And in the background is a man hanging from the walls that looked very much like Vander that had fur coming out of him.
Yeah.
And the thing with Warwick is that he has no memory in his lore. He's just a primal animal who goes after.
I've gone down the Warwick is Vander theory rabbit hole on Reddit a few times, seeing like all the voice lines from Lee that could connect it and all this stuff.
Yes. There was a whole video about it, I remember. And then Singed, we know Singed from Arcane. Yep. Bald guy. He was pretty much is the most evil character in the whole series.
He's a mad scientist.
He's a mad scientist who just wants to progress science, no matter what it takes. The dude is also just a villain across the land of Runeterra. There's a character named Riven who was originally from Noxus, who basically exiled herself from Noxus because she let her whole team die from Singed, who poisoned her entire squad.
Ooh.
He's just kind of known around the land, and he's just in game he's just this troll who sprays poison gas as he runs around really fast. But he's fast. He can take a hit, but he does not dish out a lot of damage. Typically he does a lot of like burn damage, so it could be a weird gimmick thing they could do in a fighting game.
Gotcha.
Mundo, funny character, funny guy. He's just a big guy. He throws a cleaver, and he self-prescribed himself as a doctor, self-certified. And not really much to him. There's a whole bit where one of his skins is just corporate Mundo, and the dude walks around with the Nokia, a brick phone. as he's making stocks. just a funny guy, and I think it'd just be a funny character to have. He's tanky, he does have a couple like heavy hitters, but overall is just big tank. Now, I included Silco because he is a usable unit in TFT. He has been usable twice now.
Okay.
And we don't really know much he can do other than throwing Shimmer, but who knows? It is a possible idea, and it would be a character that is not in League of Legends.
True.
Which I think would be cool. And then Victor I also wanted to include because Victor is someone that we know from Arcane, but does not reflect his League of Legends counterpart.
Yeah, he is. He's not quite there yet.
Mm-hmm. As you can see, the dude is completely mechaniloid.
Yeah, we start to see the beginnings of it, but he's not full robot lord yet.
Yes.
No Yordles.
Also, range character. There is a Yordle but I figured I was starting to put too many characters in this. again, that goes out the window later.
Yeah, this is when you're still trying
But
to be tame.
there is Ziggs, who I'm
Yeah,
hoping is in season 2.
I've
I
heard about
can't
Ziggs.
I can't say whether or not he will be, but he's a Yordle guy who throws bombs,
Yep, I've seen
and
him.
Jinx finds him adorable.
That matches. That's apt.
Hmm.
And then
Yes.
Heimerdinger as well.
Yeah, I've put him in the Piltover section. Or I would match him over to Piltover, despite
Oh,
him
did you say?
being,
Because you say Piltover ends on here, so
yes. Well, he's not
oh,
included in the Piltover
continued.
section. Yeah.
There we go.
So he's not included because I don't really know how you would implement Heimerdinger into the game, because the dude
I
just
just know
sort
he's
of places.
iconic.
He places turrets and shoots rockets and throws a stun grenade. He doesn't really do any melee things. He just sort of throws things. And honestly, I don't like, they could put him in, but I can see him being one of the most, like, people would love playing as him because he's so annoying to fight. That's what I
Yeah.
could see happening. But there's some other characters I wanted to include that are not exactly from Arcane. The only one that potentially could be is Oriana, because she was the character that was in Singe's book.
Mm.
And she is a robot ballerina girl with a clockwork orb that contains
Yeah.
a hex tech orb inside of it.
From,
And she could be a character that could utilize that as her main fighting gimmick. The damage comes from her orb, not exactly from her.
yeah, I recognize her. I recognize Camille and Seraphine.
She could be very similar to Viola from Soul Calibur 5.
Yes.
I believe.
Gives
I
the
believe
vibes.
that could be a fun little fighting style.
Yes.
Ezreal, he's just kind of an iconic Piltover character that hasn't been in Arcane yet. He dude just has a magic gauntlet, but you could easily implement, like, just he can know some martial arts and stuff.
Yeah.
But he's an explorer, shoots magic from his gauntlet. He's typically a ranged character, but like I said, they could implement some melee things to him. Camille, I think, would be great. Similar to Silas, she's a melee character, but has many ways to gap close. She has Attack on Titan Omni Maneuver gear.
Oh shit!
And has blades for legs. So
Kick character.
She can shoot the Omni Maneuver gear, fling around, slash. Like, she's a really cool character that I can't wait to see if they somehow implement them in Arcane.
Yes.
Seraphine, I just figured could be a good, female mage character range.
She's iconic.
That could also be very annoying.
Yeah, I could see her playing like a Rise from Persona 4 Arena, potentially.
Mm-hmm. And of course, like I said, there's other characters that could be in this.
Yeah,
but these are just the only ones that I could think about sticking out and stuff. And of course, there's Heimerdinger. That's what you talked about. Ionia. Now this is where I start the spiral of.
You're like, oh shit! I got to my favorite region. Gotta include them all.
Well, and as I thought about this, right, Ionia has so many characters that could be perfect in a fighting game. You could have a fighting game with just Ionia characters.
Yeah,
I strongly believe. Yone, Yasuo's brother, obvious pick. Dude has 2 swords. Fights evil spirits.
Mine looks like he was built for a fighting game. Or Souls-like.
Yeah. He's very, and he shares voice actors with the main character from Sekiro as well.
See, there we go.
Yeah. Akali, she's the girl, second one, bottom.
Iconic just from KDA.
Just from KDA alone, yes. We all love a good female ninja. She is very dexterous. She dashes, she creates smoke clouds. Throws kunai.
Ninja characters are always fun.
Very strong, very strong. Shen is a tanky ninja. Shares lore with Akali, and Zed and Jin, and he is kind of like, if you were to he's the center of the Kinku story of Ionia.
Okay.
And also his dad, Shen is just he's the Sub-Zero looking one.
Okay, just making sure that I'm on
not
track.
The Shredder one. I'll skip to Zed real quick because he is like Shen's rival / ex rival, now arch nemesis. He does shadow clones, forbidden shadow arts. So he can create clones that can also like do the same attacks that he does. I could see him being a very fun little. It's like he's a big brain character. The high skill ceiling, I should say.
Assuming he's the shredder looking guy.
Yes, he's the
Okay.
shredder one. That's what I wanted to skip ahead to. Next, I'll just go over to Lee Sin, the blind monk. I think if you look at them all, you could see which one's the blind monk.
I got that.
We all love a good monk character.
Oh yeah,
dude kicks. And I don't really know how they could implement the blind. It's might just be an aesthetic thing. But
yeah.
the dude,
I mean, it's typically what it is. And those like Kenshin, he's blind. Deal with it.
Yeah. He's just a cool character. I think he'd be good for a fighting game. I don't think there's any questions asked about that. Set, the guy next to Lee Sin to the right. Puncher, punchy guy, loves his mom.
So shredder protagonist, got it.
Yes, he I believe shares voice actors with Dio in the Japanese dub for the game.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm. I believe. I'm not entirely sure.
That's interesting. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Jin.
Next, Jin. Very, very loved character.
Of course, the psychopath is loved.
Some might consider him to be the perfect league champion, I guess, with his kit and how perfectly balanced he is.
Oh, it's okay.
Big obsession of 4. He loves the number 4. Everything about him.
Well, I mean, she for death. Yeah. Okay.
Everything about him is 4.
Great.
And he just loves killing. His art form is killing. He finds killing to be an art. If you see the cinematic for Awaken, you can see the shot of him playing the piano. These guys are about to storm him. There's these traps, and he just creates this beautiful scene of killing an entire squad of Piltover enforcers.
Alrighty.
He's insane, and he was also in the him and Set were also in the Soul Fighter game.
Okay.
The little Soul Fighter game, yeah. Kane, I feel like could be a fun little quirky little character. The dude has a possessed scythe that talks to him, and his whole gimmick in League of Legends is that the scythe is trying to take control of him, and throughout the game, you are either trying to take control of the scythe or you let the scythe take control of you. And depending on how that plays out, will change how you play your character. He can if the scythe possesses him, he becomes a Darkin, which is similar to Aatrox, similar to. There's like these possessed monsters because of the possessed weapon taking control of their body. So it becomes more of a bruiser, heavy hitter, but like kind of slow. Then if he takes control of the scythe, he becomes kind of more of a quick assassin kind of character. So
we do love a good scythe character.
Was that?
I said we love a good scythe character. Of
course. And I also wanted to stick with like kind of gimmicks that could be used in a very clever way in a fighting game as well. Mm-hmm. So that was Ionia. This is the start of I go past my little 5 to 6 character limit.
And now we spiral.
Yes. Because next we have Bilgewater. This one I actually kind of was pretty safe because we already have Alawi, who is she spawns tentacles. She's a heavy hitter, like heavy bruiser. I imagine the tentacles can come into play as it appears in the battle arena. Now Gangplank. Pirate captain, sword, pistol.
So we're gonna say, Tom Kench, the catfish dude, want him. I want him in the game. I don't care what needs to happen.
He has a whole bit.
I love his vibe. I want him in the game.
Yes, exactly. That's exactly why I put him in though, because I feel like people would love him. If you see him in the roster, they go, "I want to play him." Dude's got the catfish with the top hat.
Easily, love it.
He's actually a very evil character too.
Oh, he looks evil. But I want it.
He eats people.
Continue. I just wanted to point that out right away.
But Gangplank, he's kind of like the center of Bilgewater. He's the legend of Bilgewater. Dude's a captain he's the only League of Legends character who canonically, for a while he was the only one. I think Yone also is that now. But he canonically died. And they removed him from the game. And then when you look at the notification in the game, it said Gangplank is dead and is unable to be played in the Summoner's Rift.
Damn.
And and then was reborn. We essentially we lived through the story of Bilgewater. It was a very cool event, and it's something that I wish League could come back to. We know Miss Fortune. She's the main character of Ruin, or she was one of the main characters of Ruined King. You start off the game playing as her.
She looks very familiar. I've seen her. There's screenshots of it.
Yes, and of course we all love pretty women in fighting games. So
yes,
Two Pistols, another range character, but I'm sure you could implement some really good kicks.
Yep.
Good booby jiggles. They could probably include that too. I'm sure. Graves and TF are also there. I don't really know how you could implement them too much in a fighting game. Do they have Gambit in Marvel vs. Capcom at all?
I don't believe so.
If they did, TF would play like him. TF is just the Gambit ripoff. Dude just throws cards. Throws cards at people.
That's the character uses cards. I feel like there was. I don't know offhand. I can't remember offhand. I'll look at that.
Graves has a big shotgun, smokes a cigar, but they're like kind of Bilgewater icons. Also, I think one of the first male gay couples in the game. Ooh. Though they've had to rework their stories multiple times to them to finally end up on them being a gay couple. So to me, it sort of felt like a cop out, but it is what it is. I mean, it is still good for the game. Pike also in the Ruined King game. He's an assassin drowned man, and he has a list of people to kill, and if you ban him in the game, he goes, my list just got longer. And he's just a cool assassin character who can dash, turn invisible. It's a nice little hook move. So yeah, it's like he just be like your basic fighting game character. Like,
gotcha.
Like I said, I'm just trying to introduce these characters to you. Next, we have Mount Targon. Gods live here, more like demigods. But okay. Any questions so far? Because I know I've been talking a lot.
No, everything's. Okay. I'm just absorbing. I'm thinking.
I got you. So first we have Pantheon. He's the Spartan-looking guy.
I have seen him before.
Yeah, he's basically the god of war in Runeterra.
Okay.
Dude hits hard, and I don't really know too much about his lore. I know he's very strong, fought in a lot of wars, and we see him at the gates of the gods like multiple times.
Okay.
Leona and Diana basically are just the sun goddess and moon goddess, so it's kind of like if you have one, you kind of need the other. They're sisters, I believe. And yeah, they like Leona's a little bit tankier than Diana, but both are still really good characters. I think they could have really good fighting styles in a fighting game.
Cool.
Tarek, beautiful man, kind of someone that you need in the fighting game. He's just beautiful. Also voiced by Yuri Lowenthal.
Oh, perfect. Love it.
And then Aphelios, one of the members of Heartsteel.
Okay.
Along with Set, Ezreal, Yone.
He does look like he would be in a K-pop group, so that makes sense.
Yes. He's not. He isn't a K-pop idol, but I say he is. And I was second guessing myself with him because at first I was thinking, no, he wouldn't be in it. But then I thought about it. The dude has 4 weapons. And I figured
switching mechanic.
Yeah, a good weapon switching mechanic. I think is something that a fighting game is like. It's a staple for at least one character, you know.
Yeah.
And because they also vary in range as well. In League, he's the only character that have an alternate UI.
Oh.
Because he only has an ultimate and like one ability for each gun, I believe.
Oh.
And instead of leveling his skills, he just levels 3 specific stats.
Interesting.
As he levels up in the game. He's very interesting to play as, and he has weapon combinations to where he can swap between the two, and each weapon has a set amount of ammo before he has to switch to another one of his weapons.
That could be a really interesting mechanic.
He's a very interesting mechanic in League of Legends, which I assume they could also translate very well into a fighting game.
Yeah, definitely.
Shurima.
All right, you definitely are starting to go overboard here. You know it.
Yes, but I had to include Rammus. The little guy in the bottom.
I want him. I wanted him yesterday in the game.
So
look at him. He's so cute.
So gods are ascended from Shurima.
Okay.
This is where I kind of hope like Arcane does not start spreading into other territories, because I have no idea how the cast of Arcane is going to handle these characters. um,
Gotcha.
but Azir, he's the king of Shurima. He summons sand soldiers to fight for him,
Hmm.
which is something that I believe we've seen before in fighting games. But
Yeah, it's usually characters that hate to fight.
yes, that's the thing, is this game is definitely going to have characters like that. They're going to have characters that are going to be just frustrating to fight, and you're going to start saying, this is a no-skill character. Why do you even play him?
My only pushback to this kind of character for this game is because it is a tag team game. So that kind of, I don't know how that mechanic would necessarily work as well with the tag team.
We'll have to see.
Anyway, continue. Crocodile
Renekton and
Man.
Nasus, they're brothers. The crocodile and the
first.
dog.
Okay. Got it. They don't look,
Yes.
different animals, but we're cool.
Yeah. Renekton has a dual disc, is what I call it, but it's like a disc blade kind of.
Okay.
Like
right, it does look like a dual disc.
Yeah. I kind of wish he has a dual disc skin, but whatever. And Nasus,
get on it.
he's a dog with a cane. And the whole gimmick with these two is that Renekton is in League of Legends. Renekton is early game, Nasus is late game. In early game, Renekton will stomp Nasus, but in late game, Nasus will stomp Renekton.
Okay.
And they both have these gimmicks that they can grow really big.
Okay.
And when they grow really big, they are unstoppable forces. Don't really know how they would implement that, but I feel like they're kind of staples of Shurima as well. And then Xerath to the right of them. He's just kind of like this ball of energy made of rocks, which I feel like could be a cool idea for them to explore outside of what we know of a character.
Mm-hmm.
He kind of reminds me of Charade from the Soul Calibur series.
That's what to say. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So like he could easily just like we just see him as the ball of energy and rocks, but what if he just changes shape into a character that we know? So
could be a mimic.
And also, but if not, they could just stick to what we know about him, and they could just turn him into a long range mage that tries his best to try to keep a distance from everyone and just dish out damage. But another one of those annoying characters.
Right.
Sivir, the woman at the bottom to the left. She's the many greats granddaughter of Azir. And also the weapon that she carries is a dormant darken weapon, being like it is possessed by a spirit, but it's asleep.
Okay.
So it's not gonna start possessing her yet. I'm kind of waiting for that whole event if they would ever do that. But cool female character. I could see them implementing her as a melee character, but in the game she's ranged in League of Legends, and she throws it.
Maybe a switch character could switch stances to ranged or melee.
Yeah, she could. I could see her being implemented pretty well. Also, she looks like a design for a fighting game that I've seen. I think she reminds me of one of the characters from Killer Instinct.
She gives Mortal Kombat.
There's that too. Akshan, he's a Prince of Persia looking character.
Yeah.
He's got a boomerang, grappling hook, and a hand crossbow. Also has the power to bring people back from the dead. I don't know how, if they would want to implement that in a tag team game where if you take out the partner, maybe he could bring them back if he performs a certain combo.
That would be too busted.
It would be busted, but I wouldn't put it against. I wouldn't put it beyond Riot to put that in. Talia, Earthbender. She's to the right of Akshan. Earthbender, we love a good Earthbender. Good staple. I'm trying to also breeze through these. Cassante, big guy, loves to fight big monsters. He's up at the top left.
Him, got it.
We've seen him. He's in Heartsteel as well. Big guy, dishes out good damage, but also can take a hit. Take quite a few hits. Dude's very tanky and does a lot of damage, and is also very mobile. I find him unfair in League, but who knows? Maybe they could balance him in a fighting game. Who knows?
I just saw what you wrote. Little Nas X champion.
Huh?
I just read what you. I just saw what you wrote.
Yes, I actually have a theory that this is a Lil Nas design champion, because this is around the time that Lil Nas claimed to have been the new like boss of League of Legends, right?
Oh
And
my god.
after his announcement, they released this character, and so I'm like, this is how I feel like Lil Nas X sees himself. And
And
so I don't know. I just think he's cool. I just think it's
Armadillo
a
boy.
funny little thing. And then our little boy Ramus. He's an armadillo. He's known as Ramus the Armadillo. He's
Love it.
tanky and he's funny. His whole shtick is that the only words he says is okay.
Okay.
He just goes okay. He's just this guy who just smacks, and his whole gimmick is that as you hit him, it does damage back. He does like a reflective damage.
Okay.
I don't know how they can implement that into a fighting game, but if they could figure it out, I'd love it because he's just a funny little guy.
All right. Let's.
I was in Reaper for that one. Okay, Freljord.
Sir.
I'll go through this as quick as I can.
Beauty time.
So, because look at this cast and tell me these wouldn't be great fighting game characters.
They would.
Tryndamere, King of Freljord, big sword. He also has his ability to just scream and get so mad that he does not die. Again, don't know how they would implement that.
Too mad to be killed. Love it.
Yes. Also can heal himself with his fury. To the right of him is Ashe, the Queen of Freljord. She's a true ice bow. True ice's whole thing is that if you touch it, you die. But I don't think they would put that into a fighting game.
Extraordinarily iconic, even to non-league people. We've all heard of Ashe.
She has a comic. Yes.
Yeah.
We have Sejuani. That's Ashe's sister. Ashe, Sejuani, who's the one on the boar, and then Lissandra, the big ice woman, the ice queen. They're all sisters.
Okay.
And they lead different factions within Freljord. So I kind of grouped them with their little factions.
Okay.
Ashe, the Queen of Freljord, True Ice Bow. So I figured like she could be a cool character that's just, keep distance, keep slowing them down, the whole thing. Sejuani, she rides a boar, so she's gonna be a big character.
Mm-hmm.
But she's definitely gonna take a hit, and she uses a fling, and she uses the boar.
Gotcha.
Sling, not a fling, a sling. I was stuck on that for a long time.
I understood what you meant.
Okay. Lissandra, Ice Queen, Ice Mage. She'll use ice magic. That whole thing. We've seen that character. That's a Killer Instinct character. Trundle, he's a troll with a club. We love him.
Fun design. That's
about it. Yeah. He'd be good. Udyr, I feel like we need to have in the game. Udyr's he's the guy next to Sejuani.
Yeah.
Long hair. He uses 4 stances of martial arts. And they all are represented by the different gods of Freljord. Ice Phoenix, then Ram, Boar, Bear. So he has these different fighting styles of martial arts, which I think would be cool to implement into a fighting game. We got Olaf, Viking. Gotta have a Viking. Gragas, dude drinks, throws a keg. He can play at a distance and he can throw his body at people. Good. We love a good bob, Braum, big happy guy with a door and a nice mustache. He uses that door as a shield. Great mustache. Yeah, that door belonged to the Forge of Ornn. Ornn being the ram god of Freljord. He just took it.
Man gives Armstrong vibes from FMA.
Yes. Again, very friendly guy, and he's just the shield. He's like shield hero in a way, or Captain America, if you will. And then Gnar and Nunu, fun little guys. Gnar, he's a prehistoric Yordle who was frozen in ice, who has this ability to get rageful. Like as rage builds up, he transforms into this giant monster form. So a good rage element into the game. And then Nunu.
Very recognizable.
Nunu and Willop, Song of Nunu.
Yep.
Okay, got through Freljord. Bandle City.
Okay.
We got Teemo. He's the most recognizable Yordle, I'd say. He has a blow dart. It's got poison mushrooms. That blow dart, he can either poison you or he can blind you.
Interesting.
It's a pesky little shit.
Little chip damage user.
I just wanted to show these characters just because I feel like they could implement even a duo tag team sort of thing Like similar to like, Nunu and Willem. We could have Lulu and Vigar as well, where Lulu just made Vigar very big.
Hmm.
Because that's one of her things is that she can make people bigger. And Vigar, he's like an evil character who wants to take over the world, but he's such Doofenshmirtz level of evil.
Gotcha.
So and then
Very Saturday
Rumble,
morning cartoon.
he pilots a mech, and then Tristana uses the giant cannon.
Okay.
So if we wanted short characters, we have a whole plethora of them right here.
I'd say a whole region of them.
Yeah, but if we wanted a short character being a bigger character, Rumble's a good pick.
Yeah.
Then of course there was also Clinton Scarl earlier. Ixtal, kind of a newer faction, and I was just gonna skip over them till I finally looked them up and realized the characters that are in Ixtal. And I was like, shit, these would all be good. Kiana, Ringblade Assassin, who can harness elements. Nidalee, Spear Lady, who could turn into a cougar. Nico, Chameleon Girl, potential copy character because that's her gimmick is that she could transform into other characters. Malphite, Giant Rock Monster, big tank, could be a boss, but could also be one of those annoying playable characters. Like what's his name, Big Ben from Skullgirls.
I think so. Yeah, I didn't play Skullgirls.
Melio, he's just a soccer boy, but the soccer ball is a fire wisp.
Okay.
And Rengar, he's a knife cat.
I like him. I like his vibe.
Knife cat. Shadow Isles.
Yeah.
Ruin King.
Yeah.
At first I was gonna say we just need Viego, but honestly, again, looking at this, I'm like, this could be pretty cool.
I think Viego though is a shoo-in.
Yeah, Viego, and if Viego, they could potentially throw in Gwen. She has a cool story with Viego, in that she was a doll who was seamed by Viego's wife.
She has a good design.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I figured also good for like female character. Gotta throw in some. Elise, Spider Lady. We got Thresh, who's basically the Grim Reaper.
Okay.
Dude captures souls, put them in his lantern. We got Hecarim, Spectral Centaur, who leads the shadows into Runeterra. So if you ever see like the shadows from the Shadow Isles invading like a nation, typically it's Hecarim leading it. Yorick is like a shepherd within the Shadow Isles. He summons ghouls to fight alongside him.
Okay, so some
He's
character.
a little grave guy. And Karthus, he's a death bard. He just sings.
I love me a death bard.
Yeah. It's a cool little mage character as well. Also, Elise Spider Lady can also turn into a giant spider. And can summon little spiderlings as well.
Okay.
So, also, yeah, little gimmicks. The Void. Honestly, a good majority of these characters could be bosses because they're also huge. So I wanted to pick just the ones that are around humanoid size.
Okay.
Though Belveth might be arguable because she could be pretty big. But she's the Empress of the Void.
Okay.
Scaling character, can attack fast. Kha'Zix, Praying Mantis, Assassin. Those Mantis blades are blades. He's also like the rival to Rengar.
Okay.
So if they were to put in Rengar, they'd pretty much have to put in Kha'Zix. And then Malzahar is basically Darth Sidious to Kassadin's Darth Vader.
Okay.
And Kaisa's basically Luke Skywalker because she's the daughter of Kassadin.
Okay.
So yeah, she shoots things using void missiles and stuff.
Okay.
Malzahar is kind of like just summons voidlings and stays at a distance using like his void powers. And Kassadin kind of goes in, takes care of things, but also has quite a bit of void powers and can warp around and has a little. He also has a blade that comes out of his wrist, the top of his wrist, not the bottom, like Assassin's Creed. Final thoughts on the roster. Okay. We're done going through the different factions. Again, sorry for the length.
No, we're
but
good.
I think 30 characters is a safe one. It might be shorter. It might be smaller, but I think 30 characters is a safe one just because as I was trying to build it together, I was like, man, this is really fucking hard.
I would say I think 28 is a pretty good number typically.
Yeah. A good balance of strong characters, quick combo spammers, ranged, and then just wacky gimmick characters. I want to stick to 4 to 5 from each faction, then 2 from smaller ones, lesser known ones or stuff. They will add more since it'll be free to play. And they already got alternate costumes through skins in League.
Yeah.
So my final roster. You can tell I really was giving up around here.
I need to finish this.
So we got Darius, Echo, Yasuo, Laui, and then Katarina, Jinx, and Ari.
Yep.
So I wanted to implement. I had 5 Noxus characters, 5 Arcane characters,
Yep.
5 Ionia, and then I had 4 Bilgewater, but then also included Viego.
Okay.
Because I figured that would just be like the Ruined King cast,
Yep.
more or less. And then 4 Freljord, and then I included Nico to be the copy gimmick character. And then I had 4 Demacia and then Rammus for funny guy.
Okay.
I'm not too happy with this roster. I'm not happy with my prediction. In the end, a lot of the League of Legends roster would be great characters to have in a fighting game. They can all bring cool aesthetics and fighting styles into another genre, but I can't imagine their fighting game being released with 30 characters, let alone 50 or even 100. There's 167 total League of Legends champions. There's a lot that I didn't even cover. Hell, Darius has a brother, Draven. I'm excited for 2XKO, and I'm sure nothing will go wrong with balancing matchmaking or gameplay.
So,
Finn.
Ironically, I did a similar experiment.
Did you?
So there's a Reddit topic a week ago, for people predicting like, oh, how would a Fate fighting game look like? And that's a thing with 900 plus characters.
Yeah.
Like, how do you kind of like draw that one down? Did a similar mental exercise, and I feel like a lot of it does come down to, right, like, you want to do a good mix of easily recognizable characters, popular characters, with a few like deep cuts for hardcore fans, right? I feel like that's what you want to go for a base roster. You said it's a free to play game.
It will be a free to play game. I believe the next 2 Riot games because the Riot Forge is done. They're not making any more of those third party games. So the next games they're making are going to be free to play. So the MMO and the fighting game.
Interesting.
But the thing is, like,
that makes me think this roster might actually be really small at the start. Like,
it might,
like,
it very
12
well
characters small, and they add characters as updates or as DLC. Like, kind of like how there's been a few fighting games that have been free.
Like Killer Instinct.
Yeah.
Killer Instinct is is one that I can think of.
Yeah, because if it was an actually paid game, I would expect 28 to 30 range. If it's not, I'm expecting a much smaller roster.
Yeah, and it was so hard because I'm like, it was just really hard because a lot of the champions, I'm like, this would be perfect for a fighting game. Or I think, if not perfect, I'm like, this would be a very cool thing to implement into a fighting game.
Yeah.
Which is one thing I feel like Riot likes to do, is to take an existing thing, which I feel like most companies do this, but they take an existing thing and really do put their own spin on it, but still keeping in mind of what works.
Yeah. Definitely.
Like Valorant, for instance, they took a CS:GO style game, but implemented Overwatch elements by giving characters abilities and stuff.
Yeah. It's definitely gonna be interesting.
I'm excited though. Can't wait to play. I signed up for the beta.
Oh, there were beta signups?
There were. I don't know if they're still up. I can send it to you once we're done recording.
Definitely. Even if I don't get in, I'll definitely want to hear your thoughts if you get in.
For sure.
All right. So
we're way over time.
Yeah, I know. This is It'll be good. I mean, we'll cut it down a little bit, but this will be like an older episode style.
Yeah,
which is fine. It just might not go up for like a week or two.
Yeah.
Alrighty. Anyway, thank you all for listening. This has been another episode of Nerd Nonsense. Makoto, where can people find you?
On the Summoner's Rift. You can find me on Twitter, Makoto Dragon _, and on YouTube and Twitch, Makoto Dragon.
And you can find me in the same places, but as Nero V. Belial. Thank you all for listening. Let us know your roster predictions in the comments below. Thank you and goodbye.
Goodbye.